The criminal who outsmarted everyone. From inside a cell. How can a man in a locked steel cage run an empire more powerful than the one that put him there? He had no freedom, no weapons, no access to the outside world. And yet, from inside one of the country's most secure prisons, he stole millions, pulled off one of the most sophisticated cons in history, and humiliated the very system meant to keep him under control. This is the true story of David Karanja, the man who proved you don't need freedom to be dangerous. In 2015, Green Ridge Maximum Security Prison in Westford was home to the country's most dangerous offenders. Murderers, drug lords, men serving life with no chance of parole. But one inmate wasn't just surviving here. He was thriving. David Karanja, convicted of a multi-million-dollar bank fraud that spanned 3 countries. Arrested in 2014, sentenced to 35 years with no possibility of parole. By all accounts, his criminal career was over. Authorities thought they had him boxed in. No internet, no phone, no contact except monitored visits. What they didn't know was that the walls they trusted to keep him in would become the very shield he used to make his next move. It started small. A code in a letter to his lawyer. Legal mail couldn't be opened without the inmate present, and David knew the rules better than anyone. On the surface, it was harmless, just numbers. But those numbers were account details, offshore accounts. Then came the first whisper of contraband. Not drugs, not weapons, phones. Tiny disposable burners, smuggled in by someone who knew the right guards to talk to. Interview former guard. Karanja. He wasn't loud like other inmates, didn't throw his weight around, but people listened to him. If he wanted something in, it came in. Simple as that. Phones, SIM cards, even credit card skimmers. All moving through the same tight system, invisible to most staff, but orchestrated with military precision by a man locked in a 9x12 cell. By 2016, David Karanja's network had grown. He didn't just talk to people on the outside, he controlled them. Former associates, girlfriends, even complete strangers, all recruited through coded phone calls and encrypted letters. One of his key players was Marcia Lowe, a former bank teller he'd never met in person. From her apartment, she moved money, set up fake companies, and transferred funds to accounts only David knew existed. Every instruction was disguised. A request for 10 apples meant $10,000. New shoes meant a fake passport was ready. He had a language only his people could understand, and that language kept him untouchable. Green Ridge had cameras, motion sensors, body scanners, but the system had one fatal weakness. It wasn't built to stop paper crimes. Every security measure was aimed at violence, not fraud, and Karanja's hands were clean. He never touched the money, never signed a document. He just made things happen. Interview with FBI agent. We'd see bank accounts drained overnight, transfers bouncing through 5 countries. But the trail would hit a wall, and when we traced calls, they were all coming from inside Green Ridge. But every time we searched his cell, nothing. It was as if the man was a ghost, running a shadow empire in plain sight. In late 2017, David made his boldest move yet, a coordinated cyber heist targeting 3 banks at once, from a prison cell. The plan relied on dozens of accomplices across 2 continents. Money mules withdrew cash, couriers moved it in bulk, and offshore brokers laundered it through fake investments. Interview with cybersecurity expert. It was the most synchronized theft I'd seen. He didn't just take the money, he made it vanish. Before anyone then knew it was gone, and the FBI still couldn't touch him. By early 2018, David Karanja had moved over $12 million from inside Green Ridge, but no one, not the FBI, not the prison system, had enough to charge him with a single new crime. It was like chasing smoke through a keyhole. The problem wasn't finding the calls. It was proving he made them. David never spoke for more than 60 seconds. He never used real names, and his people outside used prepaid phones that disappeared faster than the money did. Interview with former FBI Cyber Unit Chief. Chief speaks. We realized we weren't going to catch him by just watching. We had to become one of his people, and that meant going inside. Enter Officer Daniel Ruiz. On paper, he was a rookie corrections officer, fresh out of academy. In reality, he was an undercover FBI plant. His mission: get close to Karanja, gain his trust, and find the source of his power. The problem? David didn't let people in, especially not guards. In prison, trust is currency, and David wasn't spending his. Weeks passed. Nothing. Then one day, the break they needed. Ruiz knew he had just seen the handoff, but what was inside would shock everyone. It wasn't a phone. It wasn't a laptop. It was something worse, a portable GSM modem. With it, David could connect to the internet through a network outside the prison, without ever touching a prison phone. This was his control room. Every wire transfer, every offshore message, every encrypted chat, all routed through this one device. And the craziest part? He didn't even keep it in his cell. He'd hidden it in a place no guard would think to check, and paid the library clerk to charge it every night. With the modem compromised, the FBI started mapping David's entire network. Dozens of names emerged, from street hustlers in Detroit to white-collar bankers in Zurich. But just when they thought they were closing in, David made his most dangerous move yet. One of his people hacked into a small bank's internal system, not to steal, but to plant a virus that wiped every transaction record for the past 3 years. Overnight, the FBI lost one of their key trails. Interview with cybercrime analyst. That wasn't about money. That was about sending a message. I know you're watching, and I can erase anything you find. By mid-2018, David wasn't just a criminal in prison. He was the most powerful man in Greenridge. Gang disputes? He mediated them. Contraband prices? He set them. Even guards took orders. Interview with former inmate. You think gangs run prison? Nah, Karanja ran prison. You needed a phone, a transfer, a favor with a guard? You went through him, and if you didn't last long. And yet, the more powerful he got, the more reckless he became. That note Ruiz saw, it wasn't just an order, it was the beginning of the end. August 2018. After years of chasing him, the FBI finally had their chance. They dangled bait too big to ignore. A fake insider promising access to a dormant Swiss account holding $2 million. All David had to do was authorize one transfer. David took it, but what he didn't know was that every keystroke was being tracked, every login mirrored on FBI servers. Within seconds, the Swiss account became a digital snare. Ruiz in the control room with FBI agents, watching the live feed. We finally had him. The account was fake, the IP was traced, and it all came from the modem he thought we'd never find. But just as they were moving in, chaos hit. The distraction wasn't an accident. Someone on the inside knew David was about to be taken down, and they were buying him time. By the time agents reached him, the codes were gone. The accounts were emptied. Millions vanished into the ether. David Karanja was charged with new offenses: possession of contraband, wire fraud, conspiracy. He was moved to a Supermax facility, locked in solitary 23 hours a day. But to this day, not a single cent of the missing $12 million has been recovered. Some say he still controls pieces of his network, passing orders through coded letters. Others believe he's finally cut off from the outside world. But inside Greenridge, and now in his new cell, one truth remains. David Karanja never lost a game. He just stopped playing. In the world of crime, sometimes the most dangerous place for a mastermind is exactly where he wants to be.